Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to be doing a product video showcasing the Wagner Flexio 4300. I'm going to go through all of the things. Now, most important, make sure you stay tuned until the very end because this video does involve a giveaway. Yes, I'm partnering with Wagner and they will be sending one lucky winner their very own Flexio 4300. So stay tuned until the very end for all the details on how to enter. We're going to go through all the things today, how you assemble it, the different attachments that come with it, how you clean it. Never used this sprayer before. It's a good mid-level sprayer and I'm excited to try it. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here are our pieces for today's video. I just picked these up. I'm super excited to work on these. I've been looking for some like this for quite some time. They're in excellent condition. We're gonna use the Wagner sprayer on them today. So I need to get started, get that hardware off, get them clean and get going. So in that last little clip, what I was trying to show you is that keyhole cover. You can remove these. Sometimes they come out easily, sometimes they don't. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and tape over it. And so I just kind of mold it with my fingers, and then I'm going to go ahead with my razor blade and just gently cut around the tape, leaving it covered, and then I don't have to worry about it. I've had a problem taking these out before, so I figured in this case, these are very, very old and vintage. I didn't want to mess with that and risk breaking one or having an issue getting it out. So that's what I'm doing here is I'm just going to go ahead and leave these taped over. I'm going to repeat the process on the other side as well. All right, and our next step is to clean. I am using Crud Cutter. I have a different spray bottle here, so that's why I wanted to show you. I'm using Crud Cutter. These pieces are they're in great condition, but they're pretty dirty. So I'm literally saturating the pieces and giving them a really good scrub down, getting all that gook and grime off. See, I'm showing you how much gross stuff is on there. Need to go get more paper towels. And I'm just going to go ahead and continue with my process. I like to clean like this first, and then I go ahead and take the drawers out once I get the bodies all done. And just what I'm doing here. I'm going to take all the drawers out, clean on the inside, clean the drawers on the edges really, really well, making sure I cover every single nook and cranny of this so I don't have any possible reactions with my paint. After you clean with your Crud Cutter or whatever it is you choose to clean with, I would recommend for sure taking a damp cloth, just water. Well, don't mind me. You guys know I'm clumsy. That's why the lid is on, so I don't have to worry about spilling. Take a nice damp rag and again, aggressively just kind of rinse off all of that Crud Cutter. You don't want to leave that residue behind as it could have a potential reaction with your paint products. So I always go over with a nice damp rag and then I either let it air dry or I'll wipe it down with a towel. So there are a few spots on the piece and I'll show you here what I'm talking about. This is a removable piece, but it will get painted. And there are a few spots there where we sanded down to bare wood. So I am going to go ahead and just spot prime those. But I don't feel like I need to prime the entire piece. So you'll see that and I'll show you what I'm going to use here in just a minute. All right, while those are air drying, I'm going to go ahead and show you the system. So they give you this attachment here. This is for very large jobs. I'm not going to use this today, but it could come in handy. And then there are these two gravity feed cups. You have one that's larger, one that's smaller. Today, I'm going to use the larger one. You could use a smaller for, like, say, top coating or maybe a smaller project or smaller craft. But we're going to use the larger gravity feed cup today. So I'm just going to show you how I go ahead and put this all together. It's so easy. It literally just snaps together and it is so easy to go ahead and assemble. I did this before, so I knew what I was doing, but there really isn't a lot to it. That's the really cool part. It's got to stand. I love that. So once you put your gravity feed cup on like I'm doing here, it stands up. You don't have to worry. And my other sprayer, I always have to worry about what am I going to set it on or set it against. So I do love that. So we're going to go ahead and attach, I moved the camera up so hopefully you guys can see a little bit better, and I'm going to move it again so that you guys can really get a good idea. Here is the hose that you're going to go ahead and attach. You attach right there at the top, and you want to make sure it's nice and tight and secure. And then you're going to go ahead and attach that bottom hose part where my hand is blocking and you can't see. There you go. All right, and this is the unit here that you go ahead and plug in. This houses the motor and our power, and we're going to go ahead and attach the hose to our gun and to the unit itself, and we'll be ready to go. And off to the right here is the hose, and I'm going to go ahead and attach that again. I'm going to attach that there to the back there, and then I go ahead and I'll attach one end to the gun and plug in, and we'll be ready to go. And for today's video, we're going to be using Country Chic paint in Sunday Tea. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pour into our cup. And again, Country Chic is a little bit on the thicker consistency side of paint, so I definitely need to thin it. I'm not going to go into detail about the thinning ratio. I pretty much eyeball it now because I've done this so many times. I know what I'm looking for, but I have talked in detail in other videos about how to thin, what your ratios should be, and using a viscosity cup, how important that is. I'm not using it here because I just don't need to. Definitely don't do what I just did either. So let's talk about what you just saw me do. Once you put your paint in, you do not want to lift that gravity feed cup out of the sprayer gun. It comes right out. That is where it feeds through. I'm new to this. I didn't realize that, but learn by my mistakes. I cleaned up my mess and I'm continuing to go ahead and stir and get my paint ready. So just a note, do not lift that gravity feed cup out of there when you've got your paint all in the cup and ready to go. Because like you saw me do, it just went all over my counter. Right, I have the consistency that I'm happy with. I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on and we're going to get spraying. But before we do that, I forgot I have a little repair to make, so I'm going to show you how to repair something like this. So I went ahead and primed this one little area because I had to sand it because it was just rough. But I've got a hole from where these vanities attached to the mirror and together. So I'm going to fill it with a dowel, and then I'm going to go grab my wood epoxy putty and show you what to do. This is one of my favorite products. It's called Quickwood. It's a 2-part epoxy wood putty, and it dries hard as a rock. It's perfect for things like this. So what you want to do is definitely put it back in the package because it dries out fairly quickly. So you just mix the 2 parts together until the brown and the white pretty much become one color, and you work it pretty quick. This stuff sets up and dries really fast. So working with it is, you've got to be quick. So as soon as you get those 2 parts mixed together, which I'm pretty much there, then you go ahead and pop that into the area that you need it. And so I'm just going to go ahead and push in there my little hole, and I've got the dowel in there so I don't have to worry about it sinking in too terribly far. That dowel really helps keep it more flush. All right, and I did have to spot prime a few areas, and this is the product that I use. I've gone over this with you guys before, but this is a great spot primer, and I love using it for that. All right, and here's the pressure control. That's obviously maximum. We're hitting about middle of the road there, and then minimum. I'm going to start in about halfway. That's what I normally do, so we're going to start there and see how it goes. And here I'm just showing you the spray nozzle on the gun itself and how you can go ahead and adjust that. This is what determines your spray pattern when you turn this, whether you're going vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. And here is the power button. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on so you guys can hear how loud or quiet it is. And just a little painting tip so that I can get all 4 sides of these pieces. I cut a little hole in my cardboard, and then I'll pop this piece right in, and that way they'll stand up straight. I'll put them on the floor, and I can go ahead and spray all the way around and not have to worry about flipping them. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm super excited to see how this baby works. So remember, I've got it set about halfway for the pressure control, which one reason why I like to start at the 50% mark is because it will alleviate heavy overspray. And that's something that I get asked about a lot. And as you can see, I'm getting it on my piece, but I don't have a ton of overspray in the air. I'm loving the way this is going on. If you're new to spraying, just always remember that you want to overlap. Like you see me doing here, I'm overlapping each and every pass to make sure that I don't get stripes in my look. The other note that I want to mention is this gun system is so incredibly light. Now, of course, it's made of plastic, whereas my other one is not. It's aluminum and metal, and I have to say, this is really nice on the wrist and the hand. The weight is like nothing. So I'm just going to continue on. I'm pointing out here that I'm not too terribly concerned about spraying the feet. As you're going to see, I'm not going to paint those this color. I kind of have a different plan, although I'm not exactly sure, but in my head, I have a different plan for the feet and the tops. So I'm going to do those to match, and I'm not 100% yet what it is I'm going to do, but I know it's going to be different than the body color. So I am getting a little overspray on there, but I'm not too terribly concerned. I'll probably end up sanding that off or painting over it. All right, so I'm just moving on to the other side, trying to get all sides for you guys to be able to see. And again, remembering to move my nozzle the way I need it to be instead of moving my hand or my wrist. It's just so important because if you do this a lot, you'll realize that at the end of the day, if you just turn that nozzle, it's so much easier on your body. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with the rest of this piece, getting it all covered. I absolutely love the Country Chic paint. It has one of the best coverages. I know I'll be able to do 2 coats and this will be covered. And as you guys see, all I did was spot prime. I did not prime these entire pieces. And this color is a very light color. Me, it is very warm today, and working with that mask on, it makes it even warmer. Anyway, I am super happy with the way this finish is coming out. I've got it set a little bit over the medium pressure, and it's coming out so beautifully. The overspray is extremely minimal, and as you can see, I'm switching directions of the nozzle. I have a bad habit over the years of actually using my hand and switching the gun that way. Trying to get better about that, and I want you guys to learn the right way, and that is to adjust your nozzle to go vertically or horizontally, not your wrist. So that's what you see me. I keep reminding myself I need to do that. Anyway, coat 1 is all on Country Chic paint. I've used this so many times. It's one of my favorite paints, one of my top paints in my shop, and one of the reasons is the coverage is phenomenal. So don't mind my mom, she's in the background there working away on another piece, getting it ready for me. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, come back in about an hour. I'll cool off a tiny bit, and we'll get started on. All right, we're at the end of coat 1. Here on the edge, you might see some primer. I had to go back over and sand a little area, so I had to reprime it. But look at that first coat. Amazing coverage, amazing finish.
one note I want to mention, something I really like about this unit, and that is the hose. So I have several other units that I use, and this by far is probably the best hose. When you're using a sprayer, if the hose is too rigid and it doesn't really flex very much, it can kink up, it can get caught in like these little coils, and it's a pain. And I do have to say, one of my pet peeves with one of my other sprayers is that this hose, super flexible, kind of moves with me all around the shop, and I'm really loving it.
Okay, so we're ready to go ahead and get our gun emptied and cleaned, and I love this stand. So first thing we're going to do, and remember, you're not going to take that gravity feed cup off. You're going to leave it on. You're going to remove the hose. Sometimes you do need to clean this. I'm showing you here. Mine is really clean, no paint stuck inside, so don't need to do anything with that one today. Leaving that gravity feed cup on so that you don't have a mess that spills out the bottom. We're going to take that off after. For now, what I'm going to do is unscrew the top, get the rest of the paint out of the cup, and yes, it is okay to go ahead and put it back in my jar, even though it has been diluted and thinned with water. I'm going to use the rest of this paint, and you're going to see there's not a whole lot left anyway, so it's not something I'm going to be storing for a long period of time, so it's absolutely okay to reuse this paint and put it back in the cup. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my spatula and get out all the paint that I possibly can. There is a little waste when it comes to spray guns, but not much. If you clean it out right, there's not a lot of waste that can happen. As you can see, I'm scraping it. All right, so this is where we're going to go ahead and go to the sink and start cleaning. Yes, I'm a little clumsy, you guys know that. So you're just going to go ahead and take the gun apart. It's really quite simple. There's not a lot of parts that have to be taken apart, but now is where we're going to go ahead and take that gravity feed cup off because we're safe, we're in the sink. So I'm going to start by cleaning the gun itself out, and it's basically, I just use this here, this little pipe cleaner, and then I have smaller ones as well, and I basically just let the water run and give it a good scrub. It's totally fine. It is very heavy duty plastic, and you really do want to get it cleaned out well so that your next project you have no residual paint or anything that's going to come out from your last project. So that's what I'm going to do here. I run it through, clean right there in the needle, and you just basically, for me, those are the smaller ones I'm talking about, which you can really get in there and get in well in all the little nooks and crannies to get all of that paint out. But basically, I just let the water run through and it will kind of clean itself. You don't need to use soap. As you see me here, I'm not using any soap, and I'm just kind of using my fingers to get off some of the paint residue that I got on the gun itself, and I'm just going to go ahead and let that water run. Typically, I let it run until I see it clear, and then sometimes I'll come back to it after, run another little bit more of water, just because sometimes it'll sit in there. But for now, we're going to put this aside, and we're going to continue to clean out the other pieces. Again, just using the pipe cleaner, it's super easy and quick, nothing to it. All right, now we're all ready just to let it dry. I pretty much will just let it sit until my next painting, and that way everything dries out really nice, and I'll reassemble it when I'm ready for my next job. All right, you guys, here's the final finished project. I'm super happy with the way these came out. The Wagner Flexio 4300 sprays like a dream, very little overspray, and provides the smoothest finish. So happy with the end result. It's going to be hard to let these go. All right, you guys, that is it. We are at the end of the video. How fun was that to watch a full furniture makeover featuring the Flexio 4300?
I absolutely loved working with this. Now, I have other sprayers in my shop. I do not own an actual Wagner. However, I own, as you guys know, the Home Right, which is a Wagner product, and Urlex, which is a Wagner product. And then I own a Fuji Semi-Pro too. So what are the differences between those? Well, there's different levels. So there's going to be different features that you get, and there's going to be some pros and cons to each one. So with this one, I have to say for a mid-level sprayer, it's a good investment, you guys. It really is. The overspray was more minimal than the entry level that I had tried back some time ago. And in comparison to the more advanced sprayers, I'd say it holds its own pretty well. And it's got some really cool features. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for being subscribers. If you are not subscribed, make sure you go hit that subscribe button, as well as the post notification bell, so that you get noticed when all of my latest videos are released. As well, it allows you to be a part of my YouTube community, which helps my channel keep on going. So thank you again for tuning in today, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. If you have any positive comments or questions, make sure you leave them down below. I'll always answer your questions, and I love engaging with you guys. Thanks again.